All right, good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to another victorious edition. Another one in a row of Hoosier Morning. I guess I should call this one After. Since I wasn't able to do this yesterday, your Hoosiers are victorious against Penn State, evening out the series, I should say, this year, 68-60. That improves our record to 18-9, 8-8, and even 500 in the Big Ten, putting us just one click behind that kind of big mass that's sitting there below Maryland as far as the Big Ten standings. Very open where we will end up or land at the end of this season. Even heard something interesting if anyone listened to Assembly Call's Monday show with Mike DeCourcy. I highly recommend it if anyone listens to this and does not listen to that. Definitely listen to those. Mike gives some great insight, impartialness, and it's great to have a clear head, someone outside of blinded fandom, as many of us have for the Hoosiers. But he had an interesting set of research person within their network did something, and there is actually a way that this Big Ten season can end in a 7-way tie. That's pretty crazy. I don't know how often that's ever happened or could be, but just shows what this year's like, up and down and everything. I'm sure it's very highly unlikely because I'm sure that includes Maryland losing out, which I doubt they're going to do. They're a very hot team, doing very well right now. But back to the game at hand, a great game, a good game, a mixed bag. Obviously, very exciting first half to see the team get out going, scoring, finding, playing within themselves. Again, I think I said this last show. The team is playing within their game. They're playing. No one's stretching. Even Devante, we didn't have bad Devante. Devante wasn't trying to do extra stuff. He wasn't getting a little too crazy with the ball. Everyone was playing within what they can do, and it made the game seem smoother to a degree. Obviously until the hiccup, but defense looked good. Got off to a great lead, and Penn State's a good team. Obviously they're missing a star player right now is sitting out, so they don't have some scoring there. But IU handled them pretty well, and like many of the teams in the Big Ten this year, they're heralded and led by a great senior, a very skilled senior in Lamar Stevens. And while he did score 29 points, they were not easy 29 points. I felt like Race Thompson did a great job against him. Justin Smith at the end there, when they put him on him as well, I thought that was good. He handled him pretty well. Obviously, Lamar looked to bully Justin whenever he had Justin on him. He's a very strong, very mobile guy. But Race was able to kind of handle him when he went on the dribble, and also when he wanted to try to play physical. So very excited for that. Obviously, not the greatest was and they took advantage of, again, Joey Brunk. When he was in there, they'd switch off, and Lamar was just too fast for him, could not handle him. This was another game that didn't match up well for Joey, and it's frustrating for him. I feel for him because I know he's a competitor, and in this game you saw him getting back to those competitive things that he likes to do, where he gets on the ground. He had that one kind of loose ball, and you saw him diving for it and going after it and hustling. So Joey's still giving the effort there. I think just the skills of the matchups do not lend themselves for him being out there. That being said, that's the lot of talk and critique I would probably give to the coaching staff is Archie is being very stubborn, I guess, or set in his ways. We've learned that very, very badly, I guess I should say, maybe badly, over this season with the high hedge, sticking with that, but also with the starting lineups. He seems to like to stick with the same guys. And I'm fine with that. I'm of the camp that I'm fine with that at the start of the game. If you want to start every game the exact same, perfectly fine. That makes sense. You've got some guys that you want out there to set a right tempo and everything. And he is at least now not stuck with that lineup when it doesn't work, and has switched things out. I think he switched Joey very quickly in this game. I didn't have notes to take as to when that happened, but what I don't like about it is that he goes with the starting lineup in the second half. I would prefer much more if the coaches did some game planning and changed it up going into the second half, because I think it's so important to come out strong in that second half and come out with the lineup that's working best for that particular game. And that was not having Joey Brunk out there. That was having Race out there, and Race should have been out there to start. And I think that would have helped to slow and tide that run that they continued from the first half. I mean, if you saw the stats, I think in the end they ended up going to an 0-18 run between the end of the first half and the start of the second half. That obviously made it fairly scary and put them up, and made us as fans get scared. Definitely. Like I tweeted out that my feelings of this game beforehand was that I was confident, and that scared me. And yes, those two things ringed true. It was confidence in the first half, and then it got scary in the second half. But the best part of it, the best thing to take away from this game, is that IU fought back. We didn't fold. We didn't mope. We didn't lose our offense. We started to a little bit, but we got back to it. Got back to getting it down in the block. We stayed tight on defense and eventually got stops and went on our own little run to bring it back even, and then advance on and handle the game for the rest. That is great to see. To see that kind of fight and push back happen has been missing in a lot of games. There are a few games, can't think of particulars off the top of my head, but that if we had that punch back, I think we'd have a few more W's. I easily think we could have maybe 2 more W's on that line if we had fought back. I can think of one road game. I can't think of the particular game that it was that I have that feeling, and maybe the Maryland game as well, because that was a time that we kind of fell apart at the end and let that affect us and let them back. So yeah, that's great to see. And overall, the energy feels good on the team. Obviously, winning will do that. But winning and playing hard and playing with each other really did that, helped that for the team. The interesting stat, I was looking between the two games to see at different stats. And so the first time we played them, Penn State had 21 points off of 17 turnovers by us. We cleaned that up a little bit. We had only 12 turnovers. I would maybe take away those last 2 by Al. Those kind of were a little bit aggravating and just kind of mental mistakes there. And they only got 8 points. But the interesting thing is, now again, the first game, we had 17 turnovers and they had 21 points off of it. And in this game, Penn State had 15 turnovers, and we had 21 points off of their turnovers. So that's pretty interesting the way we flipped the script on them there, and kind of took care of business as far as that goes. Other thing that was a little bit concerning, I maybe should say, we didn't shoot as well from the line. That's kind of contagious from last game too. I guess if this team is going to be a team that something has to kind of be a little off, maybe that's the one I would pick as in turn to turnovers or rebounds or things like that. But rebounds were pretty even, 35 IU, 37. Could have battled a little bit more. Some of those bounced weird and everything. The most aggravating thing on this game was, and I feel bad for the players because they couldn't figure it out. The officiating was very inconsistent, and it makes it hard as a player. Yes, play calling can be bad. They can be calling too many touch fouls. They can be letting them play underneath. It's fine, but as an official, you need to be consistent. And then as a player, along those lines, you need to adjust. You can't complain if things are being called one way. If they're being called consistent, just adjust to it and continue your game. I think that gave IU a little bit of struggles trying to figure out how to play with the calls that were happening. You saw Trace Jackson miss a couple little shots because I think he was getting hammered quite a bit underneath and nothing was getting called. Then we'd go down the other side and similar play would happen on Lamar and he would not. He'd get a call. So it's interesting because Penn State's a very physical team, and physical teams sometimes don't get fouls called against them, but do get calls fouled, or don't get fouls called on them, but get calls called on them. I know it's really weird. I mean, you can just look at the numbers. I mean, there were 46 called personal fouls. That's a lot. I think most games average in the 20s, if that, maybe in the high 30s if it's a very physical team game. But 46 fouls is just not good. It's just, you got to let them play, or again, if you're going to call that many, just call them consistent. It's just, it was all over the place. Like I said, I think all the guys played relatively within their games. The person obviously that clicked and stepped it up again, Race Thompson. Race Thompson had a great game, defending, battling. His offense took a little tick up, I think, looked a little bit better. He only scored 8 points, which is not a lot. I don't have his season average up right now, but 4 for 6, so he had good takes. Missed his free throws, needs to get better at that. Get in the gym, do that. 2 and 2, 1 rebounds, 4 fouls, so he got close there. 1 block and 1 steal, that's great. So a good game for him on that end. Doing the little things as well. It's just battling. Again, the combination of him and Trace is really good. I like their energy together. They play off each other really well. Maybe like to see a little bit more plays where they're passing it between each other. But still, I like what they do. They're there. They know they have each other's back. They just, sometimes in different sports, when you play with certain players, you can't really say what it is, but there's something with another teammate or something where you feel like it just clicks. It feels more effortless, where they're at the right spots where you need them, or they're having your back, and you kind of find yourselves doing movements to counter each other in a good way, or it's something that clicks that you can't explain. And I feel like those guys have the beginnings of something like that. And it's very exciting to think about how they can build on that, continuing this year, but more importantly in the off season and into next year. Knock on wood, both of them staying very healthy if they can, because I love that duo moving forward. And sadly, most likely we only get that once more, because I doubt we'll see Trace past one more year. Devante played within his game, did a good job. He took 8 threes. I didn't really, in my mind, thinking back to the game, I don't feel like he forced any. Maybe he had forced 1 or 2, but I don't, in my head, feel like I have any bad Devante plays that come up to memory. So I think he played within himself. Al Durham, I think, had a very good game, 14 points. Actually, the point leader did a good job of getting downhill, made a really important three at the beginning of the game. So yeah, there was some time in there when we were struggling offensively in the second half where we had both Devante and Al in, and Rob sat for quite a few minutes, and it was a little concerning. I feel like we needed Rob at that point, but maybe Rob, again, I think Rob is maybe just a click or two back from where he should be right now. Not to say that he's not doing well. 7 for 8. Missed all the field goals and threes that he took, but got all of his points from the line. Good thing to see, though, from him is that he stayed active with his hands. He had 5 steals. He was able to step in front of the one pass and almost went coast to coast, but got fouled. But he dug in there. That's an action I really like that IU does, because I think our bigs within all of them, actually, all of our bigs are very good at walling up on the other team's bigs to try to stop them banging in there and driving. And I really like when our guards are able to dig in and kind of disrupt them. You see that a lot, where then that causes the big guy to pick up his dribble or make bad choices. And as a big, you're really concentrating on what you're doing at that point, dribbling and watching what the guy that you're defending is doing against you, and kind of deciding what you want to do spin-wise, or what he's giving you and how you can move to get to the basket. So you're not thinking, for the most part, about that guard or someone coming in and trying to knock the ball out of your hands. They're thinking about the basket and the player that's up against them. So I love it when we dig down on that, because you can catch them off guard with that. And what that continues to do is, when we do dig down a few times when you can't dig down, that's another click mentally that they have to think about. They still have to think about, as they're going, what they want to do going to the basket, how they're going to make their shot, what their defender's doing. But now they have to think about, I have to keep glancing out to see if those guards are digging in on me. I got to protect the ball a little bit closer than I normally would. So I like those kind of actions. I like that on defense. I want to see it a lot. I want to see it as often as we can. I like that kind of mental game that can cause for players. Jerome went in there, only scored 3 points, 20 minutes. Again, I think he had made a great three-pointer. He had a good game. He could have been a little bit more aggressive when he had the moments in there, but a good game overall. Jerome Davis, great game by him. That play, I don't know if it made SportsCenter top 10. It maybe could have. I don't know. I wish I could find the top 10s a lot easier. That's kind of a beef. Here's a small little rant on the side. SportsCenter is not at all what it used to be when I was a kid. I don't know if you remember. I get aggravated now that I can't go turn on SportsCenter. They lost that little ticker. Remember, they used to have that little ticker off to the side, like over here, and you would see what was going to come up next, what they were going to talk about next. I miss that. They need that again. I think maybe they don't have that because it would just all be NBA, 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 SEC, SEC, ACC, NBA. Maybe that's why they don't do it, because they realize they don't have as diverse of programming as they used to. Sorry, it's ESPN. The truth hurts. But I used to love that, because then you could see when the top 10 was coming, and when your stories that you wanted to hear about were coming and everything. So ESPN, if you're listening, and probably not, doubt you will, change that. Bring that back. We want SportsCenter the way it was. While I'm ranting on this, special shout out and thanks to YouTube TV. Guys, hey, if you want, I'm not sponsored by them, but hey, if they want to sponsor me, give me a call. I was working in gymnastics meet, doing the announcing for the awards all weekend, so I didn't know if I'd be able to watch the game, and luckily I had my phone, and we were in between sessions, and lined up perfectly where I was able to watch all the game on my phone. Granted, obviously not the greatest to watch something on your phone, but having that ability to be able to do that is awesome. I love it. If you're thinking about cutting the cord, check it out. YouTube TV for IU fans is great. You got Big Ten Network. You got all the channels that would have IU games on it. But any of those cutting cord services, just look at the channel lineup. Unlimited DVR space with YouTube TV, love it. So that concludes our commercial portion of this show. But yeah, this game, great, fantastic. Loved it. Loved the aggressiveness. Loved the punch back. Obviously hate that scoring drought. But again, college basketball is a game of runs. You're going to have runs back and forth. It's all about weathering the ones that teams do against you and limiting them and punching back. And we punched back. We found a good punch back. Now, Thursday is the big test. We go into Mackey. Tough place to play. Always ready to play. Always ready to give it to us. We got to play good. We got to play hard. I believe with this team that we have going on now, with Purdue, the struggles that they've had recently, this is a team that can go in and get this win. I believe there's 100% a possibility they can do a good job. They can get in there and they can take care of business. We just need to play strong like we have been. We got to be able to fight back. We can't get too emotional there. We can't let the student section and whatever they're yelling and doing affect what our players are doing. The guys just have to play hard, play good. If we continue to do what we're doing, build on it, get it down underneath, Joey could have a good comeback game, do good things. I think it could be a very, very successful a game for us. They're coming off a 4-game losing streak. They've lost to Penn State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Michigan recently. Their last win was against us, so they're definitely going to be fired up. We need to be fired up as well. It's going to be on FS1 at 7 p.m. So, tune in, holler, yell, give the energy through the TV all you can. Hey, if you even live there, if you can weather it, if you can stand it, put on your red, put on your candy stripes, get in Mackey. And, so could be a good game, could be one that we could win. So let's get in there and let's do a good job. That concludes us for this time. Guys, follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. Like, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out your local streaming service you like to use. I think Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts. By the mid-afternoon, I try to have the podcast up so you can listen to it on your drive home or whenever you'd like. Leave me some questions, comments, things you'd like me to do with the show. I've kind of been keeping it loose for now, just letting it kind of grow, do what it does. I don't really plan out too much what I talk about because, like I said, I like it being kind of my reactions and just kind of gut reactions the next morning, the morning after the games, figuring out how I feel, what I saw, and let me know if there's things you want to hear about or questions you have. Hit me on Twitter, comments below as well. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Go out there. Be a good Hoosier. Have one.